Well, good morning. Good morning. Pastor Chuck here to share with you the newsletter for this month. It's a beautiful summer day. I'm outside and enjoying this. So, I have some exciting news to share with you. We just recently returned from a trip to Mexico. We have a trip planned for Africa in July, and we'll be returning to Mexico at the end of August. But before I share with you, I want to just share the challenges that we faced prior to this trip. On the Monday, prior to us leaving April 25th for Mexico, one of the intercessors from our church called me and said, I was praying for you and the team today, and the Lord showed me the enemy attacking the team with arrows, but the Lord had released angels to intercept those arrows and thwart the attack. And it's interesting that the challenge when we are called to ministry, we were called to an assignment. The enemy hates that when we're expanding the kingdom. So this is some interesting thing that happened to try and thwart our trip. The week prior to, Pastor Dwight got COVID and was very sick and was able to push through that. And by the time it came for the trip, he was able to go. 3 days before the trip to Mexico, Oscar got the flu, and it was in doubt as to whether or not he was going to be able to go. And so, but he did, and did very well, although he was a little bit weak on the trip. Um, and it's interesting, while we were in Mexico, Pastor Dwight and Tammy live in Lancaster, Ohio, and they had a tremendous storm there with high winds, hail, and their house was damaged, their home was damaged. They had to replace their roof, they have to replace the siding, the gutters, and the downspouts. And so all of those things happened while we were on this trip or during the trip. And it's the enemy's way. He hates it when we are advancing the kingdom. But it's interesting. I want to share this verse with you from Luke chapter 12. It says, Do not fear, little flock, for it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And so we need to keep in mind that as we move forward and we're called to kingdom work, and God gives us kingdom assignment. The enemy doesn't like that, but we need to persevere. Uh, we only lose if we quit. And as we advance the kingdom, it's interesting that the parallel verse for Luke 12 is in Matthew 6:33, and it says, Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added to you. And so it is basically two things. One, it's a matter of priorities, and secondly, the things that hinder us, those obstacles, we need to turn those into opportunities and fulfill the purposes and the will of the Lord. So we went to Mexico. The first city we were in was a city called Macuzbana. That's in the state of Tabasco. And we did a facilitator training there, 2 day training. Pastor Dwight did that. And it's interesting that that class was one of the most joyous classes and exuberant about the opportunity to have the school. And so that was really a highlight. While Dwight was doing that training, the second day, we went to a city called Palenque. And we visited with a ministerial association, 5 pastors, and we were able to share the vision of the Bible school and what we do as a ministry. And it's interesting that many times these leaders are skeptical because what we do for them by way of the school sounds too good to be true, but it is true, and they're excited about potentially starting some schools there. After that city, then we moved on to Comiton, where Pastor Noe, one of our Apostolic Council members, has a church. And while we were there, we did a graduation. And it's interesting, it was one of 2 graduations we did while we were on this trip. And the graduation was a combination of 2 different schools. And so it was held in a church where the pastor's name is Pastor Anthony Morales, and the name of the church is Salem Grace and Power. Now it's interesting that this church has sent out and planted 32 churches out of their church. And I thought it was rather ironic that we had the graduation there, and we were celebrating, with a leader who had a vision for the nations, had a vision for disciples, had a vision to make disciples, and it was a great graduation, and enjoyed our time there, and to meet the pastor and to hear and see their vision and his vision and what they've done there. After that, then we went to a city called Independencia, and we went there to share the vision of the schools and to meet with the Ministerial Association. And it's interesting that this became a surprise city for us. We only spent one evening there. We went there, and when we arrived there, we expected to just simply meet with 10 to 15 pastors, share the vision, and then we'd return home. When we arrived at the church, and the name of the church is Happy Family Church, and I thought that was an amazing name for a church, Happy Family Church. And so when we arrived, they took us to a banquet room, and they had prepared an elegant banquet for us. The table was all set with flowers and beautiful arrangements, and everything was arranged, like just like a regular banquet. And so we sat down, and they served us. It's interesting, while we were there at the banquet, there was a tremendous storm that came, blew up, wind was raging, poured down. We thought we were actually going to get flooded out. Some parts of the building actually were taking on water, but it didn't. And so we finished then the banquet, and then we planned to go over to the church building, which was right next door, and it was a huge church. I'm guessing probably you could seat 800 people there easy. And we're thinking again, we're going to go and meet with these 10 or 15 pastors, share the vision, and we'll return home or return to where we're staying. We got there, and as we went inside the church, there were 300 people there. And we knew they weren't all pastors, and we knew that there was an expectation of something other than just sharing the vision of the Bible school and the vision of Harvest Prep. And so we began with worship, had a glorious worship time, and then Pastor Dwight got up and he shared a little bit of the vision of the Bible school, and then he spontaneously shared a powerful message. And after he finished up, then I went up and I shared the vision of Harvest Prep, our overall vision, and I spontaneously shared a message. And it ended up one of our other apostolic members, Alejandro, Alex went up, and he spoke a 30-minute message. And then Pastor Noe went up and spoke another like 10-minute message. He had mercy on us. So there were four speakers, and it was a great evening and just a beautiful time there at Independencia. After there, we went to Ujitan, where we were going to have our second graduation and meet with our team in Ujitan. The graduation was there near Uchitan, and it was at the church of Pastor Sergio Hernandez. And it was interesting because the women all dressed up in beautiful Mexican gowns and the Mexican traditional dress. It was extremely colorful. It was a beautiful service. And it was extremely hot, one of the hottest ones we've had. And we have those graduation gowns, and that's no fun. But anyway, and so uh, we were able to afterwards minister to the pastor, Pastor Sergio, and his wife, Pastor Dwight, and I. And it really was a divine appointment in that they were tired and worn. They had planted this church 12 years previously. They had a covering church, but it wasn't a relationally focused relationship. It was more of an administrative. And when we ministered to them, they were just tired and worn and discouraged. And we prayed, and the Lord just revealed his Father's heart to them, ministered to them. They were weeping by the time we finished up, and the Holy Spirit had touched them. We gave them a financial gift to encourage them. And it just was a fantastic time. So our trip, we had anticipated this trip to be a great trip, and it really was. And like I said, we'll return there in August and follow up, and we have the potential to plant 15 to 25 schools in Mexico, new schools in Mexico. So we're excited about that. So another exciting thing, we have a trip planned to Africa in July, and as you know, airline costs, everything are going up. Well, we have a great opportunity. We have a benefactor who has agreed to do a $10,000 matching fund for us and we will use that funding to go to Africa. We also are interested. We're going to. There's a severe drought going on in northern Africa, in northern Kenya, I mean, and we want to raise some funding to help with food and water there, and so that'll be a part of that. So we have this matching fund, and so this benefactor will match dollar for dollar every dollar that's given. And so if you could prayerfully be a part of that, we would be wonderfully appreciative of that, and we're excited about that trip. We'll be in Burundi, Rwanda, Kenya, and Uganda, and so we're looking forward to that. Now I want to close with this. I just kind of update you on some special people that are part of our Harvest Prep team. First, I would just encourage you to pray for Pastor Mike Ross. Mike lost a sister who passed away just recently, and they've had some recent deaths in their family. And so I would appreciate prayer for Pastor Mike and his family. And also, I just want to give you a praise report from many of you know Milo Miller. He and Catherine, you've been praying for Milo. He had uh, some health issues last year, and they were pretty serious, and he's pretty well recovered from that and is doing well. And Milo, if you don't know Milo, Milo has ministered in Mexico for 50 years and he knows that he can't go now, but he still has a burning passion for Mexico. He and Catherine, and in fact, they served 9 continuous years down in Mexico. And so Milo's doing well, and so we're thankful to the Lord for that. Also, many of you have been praying for Dr. Frank Parrish. He's had some serious medical issues with his heart and had heart surgery and so forth. And it's exciting to share with you that Frank is doing very well and has recovered very well and is moving forward, he and Wendy, with the Ministry of World Map. And then finally, just also would ask for prayer for Dick Liggett and for his wife Cindy. They are in the process of transitioning to a new team over the next 3 to 4 years. And Dick is a great friend of Harvest Prep and a personal friend, and just love and appreciate he and Cindy. So keep them on your prayers. I want to just say thank you for all of you who support us. We couldn't do what we do without you, and we appreciate your support. And we'll go as long as we can go. And we're thankful for your prayer support and for your financial support. So, Lord bless you. And remember, turn those obstacles into opportunities because you are advancing the kingdom in your own way. God bless you.